Hi everyone, it is Beth with Flying by the Seat of My Plants, and I thought I'd share with you, I am getting ready to start my seeds for the summer garden of 2024, and also some I will be starting um, salad and lettuce, stuff like that, just to start having that in my house fresh, and some radishes, and we have a group Flying by the Seat of Our Plants in Facebook. And one of the guys on there, he started some tomatoes and peppers, and he's growing them inside his house. And because right now we're in Northeast Ohio, and it's been really cold, like 11 degrees, but the real feel is like -5. Oh, it's been fun. You walk outside and you feel like your face is going to freeze off. So anyhow, I'm getting in the mood to start planting. And so I wanted to go over some of the stuff that I use for starting my seeds. And I do a plant sale, and typically right around mid-May to up to Memorial Day, depending on how the weather is going to be for us. And so I thought maybe I would show you some of the containers that I use and the different trays, and I get my supplies because I grow so much. I typically now go through, it's called Greenhouse Megastore. And if you Google Greenhouse Megastore, they have so many different things. They have some great sales on there. I didn't see what they have now, but like last year I bought these 10-inch pots and hanging baskets, and they were averaged out to be like $1 a piece. So, and nice ones, and it came with the hangers. And so, you know, if you check them out every once in a while, you can get some good deals. And of course, they do sell small amounts, but you can also get a bulk amount. Like last year I bought these, and the bulk was like, I got 400 and some of these. I don't remember the price on there, but you know, last year I had 3,000 plants in my plant sale, plus my plants for my own garden. And so I'm just going to show you some of the stuff. And to start your seeds, I mean, if you are on a really tight budget, solo cups work. You just have to put holes in the bottom. And you know, if you know anybody that's having a party, like around here, a lot of people were having the football party for the Browns, because we were, you know, in the playoffs, but of course they didn't do very well. But anyhow, so, you know, you can ask them, hey, don't throw those out. You know, take them home, wash them out, and put your plants in there. You know, when you up pot, or even your seedlings. So that's one way of getting containers for free. Another is, you know, you could buy things like this. Amazon has some deals where you could buy so many at a good price. You just have to remember, of course, put the holes in the bottom. And some you can order with the dome on top, so if you want to do something like winter sowing. And typically I do winter sowing. I did for like milkweed, and my milkweed now is established and it just reseeds itself. So I'm not doing milkweed this year. And so anyhow, I don't know if I'm going to do winter sowing for anything else. Because you could do, actually, you could start your tomatoes with winter sowing. And I did do a video last year, and if you go through, it's, I can't remember what the title is, but it's all about the winter sowing and how to do it. And you just need potting soil, and, you know, some seeds need a cold stratification. Milkweed was one of them. And parsley, I think, needs a cold stratification. What else did I... there was something else. But anyhow, you know, if you get your seed, just look it up to see if it does need a cold stratification. And that means that it needs to go through a cold spell. Some people actually, you could put the seed packets inside of a freezer or the refrigerator for so many days to get that cold strat. It needs that cold spell and then, you know, brought to temperature. So Anyhow, so right now, probably the next few days, I'll be starting my onions. And so when I start my onions, I'll do a video on that. I did one also last year, but I start the leeks, the green onion, chives, and last year I did start the Walla Walla by seed and also red onion by seed, and they did great. So I got some more Walla Walla onion seeds, and those are long day. You have to look to see where you are. And another place I've gotten onion sets from is Dixondale. They're an awesome company, and if you go on there right now and order, it will also ask for your zip code, I believe, and then it'll figure out when they will send those sets to you. And their onions always do fantastic. And they have different fertilizers. They have they send you instructions how to plant them, when to plant them, and all about the fertilizing your onions. So this year I'm not sure if I'm going to order from Dixondale because I do have the seed, from seed, and I do not buy. When you go to the greenhouse and they have the little sets that are in that little mesh bag, I don't buy those. Those are like the second year onions. So they never really get big, but like Dixondale, they start them from seed, and then you get the first year. So you are going to get those big onions, and so that's why I'm going to start these from seed. And I'm going to do a video when I do start them, because I could put like 50 seeds in this container, and they grow so much, and the roots are very resilient, so you could just pull them apart, kind of gently, but you can't really destroy them, and then plant your onions, and they always do well. So I don't need to start like in these containers for the onions. I just like to do like this, and they always do really well. And I don't start them. In fact, the last couple of years, I have not used seed starting soil. I have switched over to starting all my seeds in potting soil. So one thing I've noticed lately, though, with some of the potting soil, and I don't know if it just doesn't have time because so many people are gardening that they just haven't decomposed enough the wood in there. But there's typically a lot of wood chips now in there. So this morning, I went out in the cold and went to our garden center, the local one, and I found a potting mix that I'm going to try this year. Happy Frog was always my go-to, but then I've noticed a lot of wood chips in there. But this year I got the Espuma, and it's the organic moisture potting soil, and you can start your seeds in this. And I kind of looked in there, and I don't see a whole lot of wood chips, but I'll find out more when I start really, filling up my pots and stuff. But it has some really good stuff in here. Let me see. It has the coconut core, earthworm castings. It also has, it's called mycotone, which is, when you look on the back, it's ectomycorrhizae, the mycorrhizae. And I used that last year when I was up potting my peppers. And that is like, I guess, a fungus. And the roots, you get great roots with it. So it has that in there, alfalfa meal, kelp meal, and feather meal. So I think this is going to be great for starting my seeds in. Plus, with the amount of seeds that I do, I know you can make your own potting soil. And I almost did, but then I seen this, I ended up just getting this. Let me think of where I'm at on this. Oh my God, I forgot where I'm going with it. But anyhow, I'm going to use this potting soil. And okay, so this bag, I know where I was going, sorry. It was, I think, $14.99 for this bag. 28.3 liters. It's 1 cubic foot of potting soil. And when you buy the seed starting mix, and it doesn't have, the seed starting mix doesn't have any fertilizers or anything like that in there. And for years, that's all I would use because that's what I was told, you know. So, but you don't have to. And even this has all organic fertilizer in there. Last year, though, I did use Maria Gardens potting soil, which does have a fertilizer in there, and seeds were fine. And the one I'm not really crazy about is the Miracle Grow potting mix. I'm not crazy about the Miracle Grow raised bed soil. Last year, Costco's had it on sale. The last couple of years I've gotten it, but I had a couple bags that were just full of bugs. So I don't know what's going on with that either. But anyhow, you know, you might want to buy a bag, see how it is when you open it, and then get more if you like it. But anyhow, this is what I'm going to use, the organic moisture mix from Espoma, I think is how you pronounce it. But anyhow, it has all the good stuff in there. And so I'm not going to be adding, you know, anything to it. And because typically if I use a seed starting mix, which you can use, there's nothing wrong with it. It just depends on how many plants you're going to be planting and how much you're going to be using. Because, you know, they usually come in a small bag, like a quart, I think. And the prices start at $6.99 in our area. And then they had, Jiffy was $6.99 for a quart, or $7.99 for a quart. And then it had another one for $9.99 for a quart. So this big bag for $14.99 to me was a good deal. So anyhow, that's what I'm going to be using for all my seed starting. And, you know, when I water it, this is where the containers come in. So I go to the Greenhouse Mega Store online, and because I order so much stuff now, you know, I like to use them. And they have different trays, like, you know, these are the bottom trays. There's no holes in them. And that's how you want it so you can bottom water, and then the water will wick up into your container with the seeds in it. And you want to water from the bottom. This way you're reducing getting mold and things like that. So and you got to check, you know, I let it wick up for, you know, after an hour I'll check on it. If there's still a lot of water in the tray, but everything got watered, wicked up really well, and everything's moist, I will dump the rest of the water out so it doesn't get waterlogged. So but anyhow, I get trays like this, and in these trays you can fit, you know, your different, these go in there. And depending on the size, you can get like up to 72. I think if the smaller they are, like 120 into a tray, 120 cells. And they have a different size. So here is a larger one. So a lot of times I'll start like eggplant and something like this, and I won't have to up pot it so soon, or peppers. And then here's another size, and then here's a smaller size. And I have been using these, I did my tomatoes in this, and when I start my seeds for my tomatoes, I could put like 4 seeds in one of these cells, 4 or 5 seeds. And when they're still little and they're just starting their true leaves, I will up pot them into a larger container like this. And this one is about the same size as a solo cup. and it will spend the rest of its time in this until I'm ready to plant in my garden or I'm ready for my plant cell. And as long as I don't start them too early. If I start them too early, then like last year I started my peppers too early. Plus I use the one mix I used last year when I up-potted my peppers into one of these containers. It had the mycorrhizae. And let me tell you, those roots, those pepper plants and the roots, it just got huge. And they were so healthy. And that's, from that experience last year, that's why I like the fact that it has the mycorrhizae in it. You can order that separately also. It is expensive, but you can just order where you can add it like a fertilizer to your soil. And they say you can never add too much, so it's not like you're adding Miracle Grow or something that can actually kill your plant. You never want to over fertilize, especially when they're tiny little seedlings, and you really don't even start adding any kind of fertilizer until you get your true leaves. And you know, I usually add to the water like a seaweed, liquid seaweed to my water, and then water. I don't use anything like Miracle Grow. I did the 1 year for my peppers and I killed about half of them because there is salt in that, and so don't use that. But anyhow, the potting mix I used last year, it had the mycorrhizae, which I never heard of that before, so I guess I wasn't in the loop on that one. But I experienced it, and it's awesome. So this potting mix has that in there. And on the back it has all kinds of minerals, and the ectomycorrhizae is in here. And I guess it's like a fungus, and the roots, it just helps your roots really develop and get really healthy and strong. So I'm going to try this out and I'll share how that goes with that. So the next thing, you know, I have these containers. This is a larger container that I have, which of course, if your plants are starting to get root bound before you're ready to plant them or plant cell, you know, last year I had to up-pot quite a few in here, and I don't want to do that this year because it's a, you know, it costs a lot of money because you're adding more soil. It's just, and I started my peppers, I think, a little too soon last year, so I got overly anxious. So if it's for your own home garden, you know, up-potting a few of these to get by. But when last year I had like 3,000 plants, so if you're up-potting all of those, it was a long ordeal. And that's only because I already up-potted them once, and then I had to up-pot it again. So I don't want to do that this year, so I'm going to make sure I do not start them too early. So these are the different things. I also have these tray inserts that I got from the Greenhouse Megastore, and I love this. It does have the holes, so you know, if you have these trays with no holes, that's where you can water, and you put this in there. And the reason why I like this is for transporting. It holds these really well in there, and all the trays I had last year, I had a lot. And to move them from my backyard up to the front, I also did a flea market last year, so it was a lot. It's really easy to transport them in something like this. And this, it has a narrower bottom, which I like. It's taller, and because I have another one that's a little shorter and fatter, and I can only get like 15. It only holds like 15 of the larger one of these. This one holds 18 pots in it, so you know, I really like this one. And then these, of course, so just different sizes. And then the other thing I'm going to do is you want to start checking for your last frost date in your area. You can go on Farmer's Almanac and you put in your zip code, and it will tell you approximately when your last frost date is, And for us here in Northeast Ohio, in my area, it's saying April 27th. So with that being said, you know, when I start my seeds, you know, that's where you're going to read the back of the packet. And like this one, it says to start indoors 6 weeks before the last frost. This one doesn't tell me how long the germination is. Typically it will say, oh, it does. Okay, I'm sorry. Sprouts in 10 to 30 days. So that's a big window. Typically when I've seen that 10 to 30 days, I don't know, I've always had really good luck, and it's always within 10 days. Like the stevia I did last year, that's in the window of 10 to 30 days. So the instructions say start indoors 6 weeks before. So to be extra safe, I add on at least a couple weeks for that germination. So instead of 6 weeks, I'll do like 8 weeks. This says 30 days, so the stevia, I think I started actually, well, like this. Okay, it says 30 days. So instead of 6 weeks, I'll do 10 weeks early. So let's say our last frost is April 27th. And that's another thing. I'm going to start writing out a chart and putting different things, like when I'm going to start my tomatoes. And by doing that, you count backwards. So my last frost date is approximately April 27th. But I'm also going to take into consideration my plant sale isn't going to be until, and our planting, usually a lot of people wait until Memorial Day. So instead of just taking the last frost date for like tomatoes and peppers, I'm actually going to move that to like May 15th or May 30th, and then start counting backwards. So let's say if it says plant 6 weeks before your last frost date, I'm actually going to count or plant 6 weeks before. I'm going to count backwards from May 30th or 31st, 6 weeks, and that's when I'm going to plant. Also taking into consideration the germination. So, you know, if it's 6 weeks before your last frost, I'm going to say, okay, 6 weeks before May 31st. So you're probably looking at mid-April. Yeah, mid-April is where I would start these. But then I want to add on for the germination period. So instead of mid-April, like these, since they could take up to 30 days, I will probably start these the end of February. Maybe the third week into February. So you want to take that into account. And it's really good if you plan, like, you know, have your calendar and like tomatoes, you know, everything you're going to count back from when you want to put it in your garden. You don't have to go by your last frost date. I mean, that's just a guideline there. But if in your area, everybody typically, just in case of any frost or freeze or anything, you know, if everybody in your area plants around Memorial Day, then that's where I'm going to start my last freeze at and then go back, if that makes sense. So, and salvia, I planted that in my butterfly garden around my greenhouse, had, you know, different areas. So I want to hopefully get some to where I have some flowers by the time I do my plant sale, and I could put the flowers in my plant sale. Plus I got the frilly, they're a feathery and double blooming 3-inch white heads petunias. So, and I gotta let Abby out. Hang on. So, that's it. You know, just wanted to show you the different trays, different containers. Also, you have your tags. And I saved a lot of my tags from last year So, you know, they got the, I use a special marker for the garden. It's protected from the UV so it doesn't fade. But anyhow, if you put these markers in some water and add some bleach to it, let it sit for like, I don't know, 24 hours or something, that'll all come off and you can reuse them. So it's another thing to keep in mind. And hang on, it's cold out. I gotta let Abby in. Okay, so that's it. I hope that was a little helpful. I know Amazon has some different trays depending on how much you're going to be planting. And like I said, you can use, I use potting soil now. You know, if you're just doing a small amount, you can use the seed starting mix. It's good to start your seeds in that too. So, but you can also just use potting mix. It's good. And this, I can't wait to see how, what happens with this potting mix that I'll be using. It's all natural, it's all organic, so I'm excited about that. Oh, and the other thing, I have been saving eggs. You know, anytime I've been making quiche and stuff like that, I save the eggshells because every year I add crushed up eggshells into my garden when I plant my tomatoes, because the extra calcium helps prevent blossom end rot, and it works every year. I'm a firm believer in it. So this year I went ahead and all the eggshells that I saved, I went ahead and put in the oven at around 200 degrees for like an hour, 2 hours, until they were totally dry. And then I put them in a blender or like the bullet and powderized it. So, because eggshells can get really stinky. So I'm going to add this to it. Plus, it speeds up because the eggshells do have to decompose to get that calcium pulled up. And I mean, my plants, tomato plants, have always done well just doing it that way. But just to save room, and because we got quite a ways to go before I start planting my tomatoes, I'll probably put like a tablespoon in each hole of the powdered up eggshells. So that's going to be good. And the other thing you can use if you don't save the eggshells, tomato tone. And that's it. So I will be showing you how I do my onions. Onions always do really well. And I will be planting and starting like lettuce, radishes, different things. And I have all my grow lights, so I'll be pulling out my shelves and getting that all set up. And I do have a video on the different grow lights I use, but I'll go ahead and do an update on that. And I probably won't be doing 3,000 plants for the plant sale this year, because it was a lot. And the ones that did the best with the sales are the ones that were the most different. And I can go over different things that I do for my plant sale too. You know, I make sure I have the pictures and of what that tomato is going to look like, because it makes it easier for them to pick it out. So that always goes well, the plant sale. So anyhow, I think that's it, and just wanted to share that with you. Different containers that I keep on hand and stock up on to get ready to start planting. So hope you guys are staying. Hey, the battery went overheated on me, so I'm not sure exactly where I left off, but just the different containers. I just wanted to share that with you. Different places that I buy them from, and you know, all the different sizes that you can get for up potting. And you know, I tell myself every year, don't start the seeds too early. I know we all can't wait to dig in, but that's where I'm going to plant lettuce and radishes and put them under my grow lights, which I can do now. And if you have that urge to plant. And then I have to go through my seeds to see and make that list, which I'll show you when I'm done, how that is as far as planning and just counting backwards, and count it backwards from when you want to plant. But of course, check your last frost date to give you a general idea. So anyhow, I guess that's it. And just want to say thanks for joining me. Thanks to all the new subscribers. I really appreciate that. And all the subscribers that keep coming back. Welcome back every time. And I appreciate all your nice comments. And so I guess that's it. So, all right, guys. Stay warm out there and have a great day. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.